I'm mad that people aren't more mad at Usher.
For what?
Because somewhere along the way, he went from a victim to a procurer to a head turner.
All you heard was Papa, don't hit me no more. Let's go. Kick in the door, waving the 4-4. Hey, hey.
He's in the 90s, do you understand what that's like?
Puffy's place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Looks like someone's NDA might have expired, because with Diddy's trial beginning, celebrities have started openly speaking about their experiences. For years, everyone's been tiptoeing around the stories about Diddy's mentorship and that very curious relationship with both Usher and Justin. But now, we finally get to hear what really happened to Usher. Keep watching, because we've got all the shocking details, and they might just change how you look at all three of them forever. Now let's take it from the very beginning by describing how Usher and Diddy even found each other. It started in 1994, when little baby Usher was just 13 and already destined for stardom. L.A. Reid saw all that talent bubbling up and thought, this boy needs some spice in his life. So what did he do? He shipped Usher off to live with none other than Sean Puffy Combs in New York City, not just as a mentor, but as his temporary legal guardian. And no, this wasn't summer camp, this was flavor camp, where Usher got a full crash course in the music industry straight from the source. When you consider what we now know about Diddy, imagine living with him at just 14 years old. And according to Usher himself, it wasn't all studio time. He said he saw some very curious things, like enough that grown-up Usher now says he wouldn't send his kids to flavor camp.
14 years old. You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to Puffy camp?
Hell no.
It was giving music biz boot camp with a side of freak off. Honestly, someone should have ushered Usher out of there, because he admitted that he couldn't indulge in some of the things he was looking at. In fact, it would seem like he lived in a house without any rules and a lot of girls partying all night with Diddy as a teenager. When he was asked if someone tried to do stuff with him, he didn't exactly give a solid answer.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
So nobody tried to, some woman didn't come along.
I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
Gene Deal had some juicy information to share about Usher's time living with Diddy. He was Puff Daddy's bodyguard back in the 90s during the peak Bad Boy Records era, rubbing elbows with Biggie, Mace, and the whole crew. Gene's been very vocal lately, showing up on podcasts and YouTube interviews, painting Diddy as a product of the music industry's dark side. He claims people like Russell Simmons, Andre Harrell, and Clive Davis basically molded Diddy into, quote, a monster. In a recent interview, he mentioned a time when he heard that a kid had been taken to the hospital because he was bleeding from his butt, and that person was Usher.
You know, Puff sent this little kid to the hospital. How he sent him to the hospital? Man, nigga was bleeding from the butt. And that's what was said.
Now, this is all speculation, and no one else has come forward to back up this story. But Gene Deal claims that everything he is saying is true. Can you imagine the implication if this actually happened? It doesn't take much to know the kind of activity that would cause someone to bleed from their butt, but it's a whole different story when said an activity caused a hospital visit. What do you think? We already know that Diddy didn't have strict rules for Usher as a 13-year-old, but would he go as far as getting down and dirty with someone who was supposed to be learning about the music industry? And remember the time that Diddy slipped up during his party, hosted by Kevin Hart back in 2010. Diddy let slip that he and Usher used to sleep in the same bed. The event was being broadcast live, and Diddy, perhaps under the influence of a few drinks, started talking about his early days with Usher.
My brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, damn, pause, but like, check this out. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flake.
Why would a grown man with a house full of rooms be sleeping with a young teenage boy in the same bed? Some folks try to brush it off like it was just innocent big brother bonding. But with all the mess Diddy's facing now, we can finally admit that it was weird.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
One thing the internet has been asking is what kind of parents just up and let their kid live with a dude at 14 years old? Who is more sick, Diddy or the parents? But you can't deny that the parents' choice was very effective. In August 1994, Usher dropped his self-titled debut album, with Diddy playing executive producer. Being groomed under the eye of one of the most powerful men in the biz at the time gave Usher a front row seat to fame. And they kept that chemistry going into the 2000s too. Who could forget the song I Need a Girl? World. That song gave us vibes and vocals and was a hit all over the world. By then, both Usher and Diddy had evolved, but they always kept a close relationship. In fact, the two have been in interviews together.
We don't get it. Usher, how you been, man? I've been seeing you so long.
How much did we drink?
You trying to say something, Usher?
I'm trying to say something.
What do you want to say?
I don't know if I should.
Unfortunately, even with their strong relationship, Usher has not spoken out defending Diddy since his home got raided. So much for close big brother relationships. In fact, some people no longer see Usher as the victim because apparently he introduced Justin Bieber to Diddy. In 2008, Scooter Braun spots Justin in a viral YouTube video and flies him straight to Atlanta. And who's waiting with open arms? None other than Mr. Smooth himself, Usher. Now let's not forget, Usher wasn't just giving advice. He was stepping into full mentor mode, paying it forward the same way Diddy once guided him back in his own teen years. Now let's fast forward to 2009. Usher introduces Bieber to Diddy, probably thinking it's a sweet symbolic moment, a look how far we've come kind of vibe, but what followed was a lot. Diddy spent a wild 48 hours with 15-year-old Justin, and while no one's dishing all the details, let's just say the words wild and Diddy in the same sentence have never meant good things.
I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
Going crazy.
What's up with Diddy and spending time with teenagers trying to introduce them to the party life? Given Diddy's legendary party boy rep, some folks were giving serious side-eye and wondering, was a simple special hangout the only thing that happened? Now, in light of all the very serious allegations swirling around Diddy, trafficking, racketeering, the works, people are looking back at every crumb of his past with a magnifying glass. There was also an interview where Diddy kept asking Justin why he hasn't been in contact with him.
Starting to act different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But you never really got my number, so.
Right, okay.
Number?
Justin is clearly uncomfortable and doesn't seem like he wants to be talking to Diddy. Some body language experts even revealed that he kind of looks scared to talk to Diddy. There's speculation, there are questions, and the internet is not letting up. But for the record, Bieber's team has come out swinging, saying loud and clear that Justin was not a victim. That's not the story many other celebrities are saying though. According to Jaguar Wright, Usher clearly introduced Diddy to Justin, knowing that it would only have a bad impact on him. He didn't have good intentions when he made the introduction. Jaguar thinks that Usher changed from being a victim to enabling abuse himself. She claimed that Diddy had been trying to get close to Bieber for a while, but his management was keeping him at bay. According to her, it wasn't until Usher stepped in and took over management and handed Bieber over to Diddy for a 48-hour period so that Diddy got his chance.
I'm mad that people aren't more mad at Usher.
For what?
Because somewhere along the way, he went from a victim to a procurer to a head turner.
But wait, there's more. Jaguar also alleged that Diddy sold a controversial freak-off party video for a staggering $500 million on the dark web, featuring high-profile celebrities, including Justin Bieber. She claimed the last freak-off tape that just got sold on the darknet, which I monitored, went for $500 million. However, once again, remember that there is no proof of this. We only have Jaguar's words. But it's not just Jaguar who has these suspicions. Freddie P also mentioned that Justin may have been in a tape with Diddy.
And it was in alleged allegations that it was being a tape was being shopped around with him and a young male. I'm not accusing nobody, but if you look at the way Justin Bieber look at Puffy, he hates that nigga. He hates that nigga. That man.
Freddie P has accused Diddy of exploiting young artists and creating toxic environments. He is a former member of Da Band who rose to fame under Diddy's Bad Boy records and has been vocal about his negative experiences with Diddy in various interviews. What do you think? Do you believe that Usher was abused by Diddy and later brought Justin as a sort of replacement? Or is everyone reading too much into this?
If he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
Can't smile in your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital.
Oh, honey, buckle up, because the courtroom drama surrounding Sean Diddy Combs is giving us more twists and turns than a telenovela marathon. The trial, which began on May 5th, 2025 in Manhattan Federal Court, has proven to be nothing short of explosive. The prosecution's star witness, Cassie Ventura, testified about a decade-long relationship filled with alleged abuse, manipulation, and forced participation in these notorious events. Cassie testified for 4 days, yes, 4, and didn't hold anything back. She says everything started back in 2007 when she was just 22 and Diddy was a 44-year-old powerhouse with too much money and way too much control. According to her, he beat her like punching, kicking, and full-blown stomping. She detailed being dragged into these weird fueled parties Diddy called freak-offs, where she was allegedly forced to sleep with random male workers while he filmed and directed it. And no, this wasn't some kinky lifestyle choice. Cassie says she was terrified, high out of her mind on and just trying to survive. And if you think it stops at that, think again. Cassie claims Diddy was basically her big brother on steroids. Allegedly, he had access to her private medical info, tracked her movements, and even hid her away in hotels to let her bruises fade so nobody would ask questions. You know, real romantic stuff. She says she was isolated, scared, and completely under his thumb. It was like something out of a psychological thriller, only it was her actual life. And now she's naming names and shining a spotlight. Diddy's defense? Oh, they're trying. They dragged out some old text messages between him and Cassie that they think make the relationship look consensual, like she was into it. Cassie clapped back, saying point blank, just because she sent polite texts doesn't mean she wasn't being abused. Trauma and fear don't always look like screaming. It can look like playing along just to stay safe. The prosecution agrees and says those texts don't change the fact that she was allegedly manipulated, threatened, and used like a puppet. So where are we now? Court's still going strong, emotions are high, and Cassie's been showing up like a queen, calm, collected, and ready to fight. Her husband, Alex Fine, is right there by her side, being the definition of support. But we're not done yet, because Dawn Richard of Danity Kane came through and shook the courtroom. She testified that back in 2009, she actually witnessed Diddy putting hands on Cassie, like physically. According to Dawn, she and another bandmate were so scared they left the house immediately. It wasn't just a he said, she said situation anymore. This was now turning into she saw, she testified. That little revelation added some serious weight to Cassie's claims and gave the prosecution even more reason to say, Your Honor, this man is dangerous. Dawn's testimony aligns with her previous lawsuit filed against Diddy, where she accused him of physical abuse, intimidation, and gender-based verbal attacks during their collaborative years. She also claims she was denied royalties and adequate working conditions. In her lawsuit, Richard detailed instances of assault, including Combs groping her without consent and making inappropriate comments. The timing of her testimony coincided with Diddy's legal team's motion to dismiss her lawsuit, a move perceived by some as an attempt to undermine her credibility. Despite this, Richard's decision to testify highlights her commitment to seeking justice and supporting other survivors. As the trial progresses, Richard's testimony continues to shed light on the alleged abusive practices within Combs' operations, contributing to the broader narrative of abuse and coercion spanning years of his career in the music industry. At the end of the day, the entertainment world is a maze of fame, influence, and power plays. Mentorship is supposed to lift young stars up, not chew them up and spit them out. So as we untangle this web of Usher, Bieber, and Diddy, let it be a lesson that Hollywood isn't as glamorous as it looks. What are your thoughts on this situation? Let us know in the comments.